Made in Hollywood.
Long before Ruth Bader Ginsburg became a Supreme Court justice, she was a struggling attorney looking to make a difference.
On the Basis of Sex, starring Felicity Jones, takes a look at the landmark discrimination case that changed the course of gender equality in America.
Hi, this is Justin Theroux. You're watching Made in Hollywood, and here is a scene from On the Basis of Sex.
There are 178 laws that differentiate on the basis of sex. Women can't work overtime. We have to get credit cards in our husband's name.
We're not allowed to work in the mines.
This is a man's world.
You think you can change the country? You should look to her generation. They're taking to the streets.
Protests are important, but changing the culture means nothing if the law doesn't change.
What did you say your name was?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
The director said that you really embodied Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You caught her essence and not necessarily an exact impersonation. So what was the process that you went through in order to create this character?
You have to get obsessed with the details. I think that's how you play a character most truthfully. And obviously, I'm playing a real person, so there's so much material to look at. I'm playing a real person who I really, really admire. So I was definitely made sure that I had lots of preparation time. That's what was so important, so that I could really feel that I had explored every avenue, that I knew everything about this woman, that I understood all of her motivations and how she's become such the iconic figure that she is today.
You have to remember that the Ruth Bader Ginsburg as icon thing is only like 5 years old. Even the process of writing the movie is older than Ruth Bader Ginsburg as an icon. It's hard to believe it now, but when I first told people that I was thinking about writing a movie about my aunt, their reaction was, well, the problem is nobody knows who Ruth Bader Ginsburg is.
That's so interesting. So you needed to make this movie so people are aware.
I thought this movie was going to be like the country's introduction to Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the important things she had done. And now, of course, it's just the context of when the movie's coming out has changed, and yet it still feels so prescient and relevant.
If the law differentiates on the basis of sex, then how will women and men ever become equals? I don't read tax court cases.
Read this one.
Talking to Ruth about this, about creating this screenplay and about creating this movie, what was it like when you came to her and you were like, this is what I want to do?
Well, I told her what I wanted the movie to be about, and she said, why that case? And she said, I argued bigger cases, I argued cases in the Supreme Court, landmark cases. And I said, yeah, but this is the only case that you and Uncle Martin ever argued together. And that's what the movie's about. It's about a marriage. It's about them fighting in court, but they also figured out how to live at home, that real equality.
The film is so much about what she achieved and the incredible impact that she's had, but it's also about how we don't work alone, that we work with those around us. And actually, if you look back in history and you look, the idea of the genius, I just think is total nonsense, because there's always a supportive partner in the background. And so true to On the Basis of Sex, it's very much about how that relationship enables Ruth to have even more strength in the world.
Yeah, he was an incredible ally. I mean, he understood gender equality on a deeper and more progressive level than almost any man at the time. He also understood how it would affect his marriage, and he and his wife operated in complete equal partnership.
And that's why it's so important for people to see, because I think Marty is a real role model for men as much as Ruth Bader Ginsburg is a role model for women.
They think gender equality is a civil right. What's at stake is the American family. Let's put this idea to bed once and for all. You will lose, and when you do, you will set the women's movement back 10 years.
You don't get to tell me when to quit.
What is something that you would want to set as a precedent for yourself?
All of us, no matter what field you're in, you want to, so the best people, or the people who I think are the most historically significant, don't necessarily maybe accomplish whatever they want to accomplish in life. It's what they leave behind that is hopefully memorable or lasting. You think about like great books or great movies or great songs or great law. If you can create something that's lasting, that people appreciate and make the world a better place, that's the goal.
As a kid, it was actually kind of incredibly confusing, because I had a picture in my head of a feminist in the 70s that I think everybody has, like Gloria Steinem standing in front of a crowd, bringing everyone to their feet. And then people would point at my, sort of quiet, very diligent Aunt Ruth and say, she changed the world. And I was like, she changed the world, really? And part of the joy for me of writing this movie was discovering that and coming to understand that sustainable change takes a Gloria Steinem and it takes a Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You have to change the culture, but then you also have to change the laws and the institutions.
You've been ready for this your whole life. There is no aspect of the law at which you can be bested.
The word woman does not appear even once in the U.S. Constitution.
Nor does the word freedom, Your Honor.
Here comes the change.